we had a pretty monumental comment this week on our YouTube channel. Are we going to talk about that at all? Do you think he watches our podcast?
Nobody watches the podcast. Yeah, so we did a reaction video fairly recently. It was a few weeks ago, actually. It was like a month ago at this point. But
Right.
The person who we did the reaction video on saw the video and commented.
That's never happened before. I wish Liver King would comment. Like, that would be epic.
He's... After we blew him up, he got way too big for us.
He must be on a new stratosphere now.
Yeah.
We blew him up. We found some more people more on our level, I guess.
That's actually true. We have the exact same subscriber count. This is the first time we're not punching up. We're like punching straight across.
We're going to grow together, bud.
Yeah.
We'll blow you up. You blow us up.
Although our latest video was, I don't know how many subscribers she has, but she was like an actual doctor. Have you seen that one yet?
Which video?
The grower versus shower video?
I did see.
Jesus.
Oh my God, my dog is just throwing a roll. I thought you took the toys away.
I took away the
God
squeaky
dang
toys.
it, Cody. She is. That's the thing about Brinley that's kind of nice. My dog Brinley, she'll play fetch with herself.
That's
I
convenient.
don't know if you've ever seen any dog. She'll throw the toy and then have to go fetch it herself. I've never seen a thing.
It'd be cool if she
like
could play the don't move game by herself. Don't move or make any noises by yourself.
I have a bag of bones over there. Did you give her one?
I did not give her a bone.
She's all wound up. Let me get her a bone real quick. These microphones honestly do not. You're right. Like it's very faint. Like it's just right. It picks up right on.
Except for our last episode, I did get a comment. They said cool background noise. I think at the beginning, my wife was talking and the dog started getting a drink of water. And at one point I had to get up because the AC turned on.
Cool background noise. That's an awesome comment.
They didn't comment it on the video, but they're in a Discord that I'm a part of. And they had mentioned it in there.
So it's somebody you know, kind of. Or no?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know their name or I've never seen their face, but
cool background noise. There's a couple of podcasts where we had some real bad technical difficulties for sure.
This episode's background noise will just be Brinley lightly chewing her bone. It's adorable. Don't comment on it, please.
It's like some ASMR mukbang for you.
Yeah, dog mukbang. I think that's untapped, dude. That's an untapped resource.
Holy shit.
I'm cutting this out.
Let's get the
this
camera
is our
out and
idea. I'm cutting this out.
Filming the dog eating right now.
I had something cool happen.
You better not be trying to deflect our fussy baby boy conversation.
Are we
now.
not done with that? Fussy Baby Boy commented on the video that we made of him.
Well,
and he was very nice, and he kind of explained like his reasoning for what he does, and
turns out we're terrible people.
Turns out we're the assholes, and
we're always the assholes.
I kind of suspected that to be the case.
We're over here trying to make fun of people, and turns out
they're people.
They have a medical condition.
It turns out that they're actually human people.
And this is how they're coping with their life, and we're just terrible people.
Yeah.
I think that was your intention with the YouTube channel, though, right? Was to just be a terrible person, or
I don't know. It kind of, actually, if you go back to like the first episode of the podcast, I think pretty much verbatim we said. I'm
just letting you guys know I'm having a lot of trouble.
Awful.
I try to, give people prizes and try to like film videos, giving money to people, but all Cody wants to do is just ruin people's lives. It's really tough. We can't ever decide on what to do on a video because he just wants to like, prank them or something.
Dalton's dream is that this is a Mr. Beast channel, and we don't have Mr. Beast money. He wants to give away hundreds of dollars. I'm like, where is this?
Mr. Beast said you have to give everything away, and then
everything is given away. There is nothing left.
All right. Well, honestly, I did give $1 bill and a bone to a homeless lady on the way here. Believe it or not, I feel good. I got my
You
my
can't
monthly.
give people dog bones, Dalton.
She had a dog in her hand.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't. I love just giving homeless people dog bones. I don't know.
It'll keep them occupied. It keeps them busy.
Chew them for a while.
Oh my god, I'm the bad person.
That's hilarious, man. Sorry, I should describe the homeless person a little bit more. She had a dog in her hand.
Okay, that makes sense.
On the way through, I gave her $1 and a bone because I had a bag of bones with me. But maybe she will take it. It might have been too big for the dog. It was a small dog, so she'll probably chew half of it, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then give the other half to the dog.
She like chews it up for the dog, like a mother bird or something.
Yes, that's what I imagine happens.
Hell yeah.
She's got a lot more time on her hands.
Have you encountered those juggling street performers?
I have. I've texted you maybe once or twice, but honestly, they have been out lately. And you know what else? I keep wanting to hate on them, but they've been getting better. This guy's like, he's going behind the back now, and he's doing. I'm like, God, I kind of want to give him $1 now. This fucking guy's. I saw him at the beginning of summer, and now at the end, he wasn't doing behind the back shit before. Like, he was just doing the normal stuff before. I don't know. He's been killing it.
Have you been practicing any like circus performances so you can compete with him?
Oh man, I totally forgot we need to do that. Well, I have.
You said that you wanted to sword swallow because you have no gag reflex or something like that. If I recall correctly, you mentioned that in a podcast.
I've already got that act pretty down. Actually,
Yeah.
I've been practicing that one for quite some time. I have this. I don't know what people call these things, but we used to call it a Diablo. Okay, and it's 2 sticks connected to a string, and then this thing looks like a giant yo-yo. And when I was in middle school in Colorado, the gym teacher did a circus arts section for 2 or 3 months. We did nothing but stupid stuff like, ride a unicycle and, learn to juggle and, weird stuff like that. And one of them was this Diablos, which was, I don't know, it was almost kind of a scam because he addicted all the kids and all the kids bought them. Everybody had to bring these sheets home. Like I bought 2 of them. You know what I mean? It was the
PE coach got you guys involved in something that he was selling.
Dude, thinking back on, that's what I'm trying to think back on. I'm like, where did this money go to? Like the gym program or something?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean,
he bought 4 pallets off of like Alibaba, and he's like, I gotta unload these things.
I'm telling you, man. Like looking back on, this guy might have been a hustler, but everybody. I bought 2 of them, and it's just a big plastic yo-yo. You know what I mean? And anyways, if anything, I would use that because once he addicted us, for a year, that's what I was doing, man. Just and under the leg, over the arm, behind the back, and. Obviously, there's if you go up on YouTube and shit, there's people that are throwing the sticks around. And the cool thing is you can throw, it's not, a yo-yo is connected to the string, but this is free floating from it. So you could throw that piece in the air. And then people would do crazy stuff, throw the ring, and then catch it. But you could throw this thing fucking 50 feet in the air. I mean, ridiculously high.
So the only thing that separates it from you just throwing a ball up in the air and catching it is the sticks.
Strings and sticks. You just put the strings together and boom. And the crazy part was I learned this in Colorado, 11, 12 years old. And then I moved to Iowa when I was 13. And just, I'd also 11, 12 years old, I'd also started this goth emo phase of my life as well.
Pretty cool.
What
grade is that?
This is middle school, 6th, 7th grade.
Cool.
Right around parents getting divorced, and also me just hanging out with the kind of kids that, that's what we did. We went to Hot Topic, and we listened to metal music and shit.
Your parents got divorced when you were in middle school?
Full separate when I was like 10. So
okay.
Would have been right after.
Did you feel like it was your fault?
No. Shit. No way. No. I mean, we can get back to the divorce subject later. You're going to be all derailed here, man. You weirdo.
He won't stop playing with his yo-yo thing. He's fucking weird.
The whole point of me bringing up the yo-yo and the emo phase was when I went to Iowa, nobody's seen any of that shit. Nobody's seen the Diablo. Nobody had seen a 13-year-old kid wearing big old baggy pants with chains on them either. And I mean, I was the only one in that little town that was doing that. I mean, you can verify, yes?
I shouldn't need to, but sure, yeah. I believe you.
You went to a different middle school than me. You went to the public school, and I went to the...
No, I went to... I moved to Iowa the middle of freshman year.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so I went to a middle school in Phoenix.
Earlier. Okay. We can bring that up later in your parents' divorce and stuff, too. But
that happened when I was really young, and it was my fault.
Yeah. We'll dive into that later. Oh, no. You're fucking making me laugh. I forgot what we were getting at. Getting to Iowa, and then I was the only one with these fucking pants on, man. And I also did not want to be in Iowa, to tell you the truth. And I just didn't talk to anybody for like a year. 13 years old. And I brought up that middle school, too, because I had to go to a year of Catholic school. Every Wednesday morning, you go to school and you go to church. That was like the first thing you did Wednesday mornings. And funny enough, I just found out on Facebook that school had to shut down this year because they couldn't find any teachers besides Father Brees. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Father Brees is the head of the Catholic Church in town.
Right.
And Father Brees...
And he's the only one apparently that has a teacher certification on the staff right now.
I've watched this guy. Like, I've been in church a couple times because my siblings went through the Catholic school.
Sure.
And I was in there for communion. And, it was like my brother's last communion. It was like a celebration for his graduation thing that they do at the Catholic school before they do it at the high school.
Right.
And I'm in there with my family, and they call everyone up to drink the wine and the crackers. And my grandpa looks over at me and he says, "Are you baptized?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Then you can't have any crackers." And he got up, and I thought he was like going to laugh about it. He was dead serious. No. You can't have any crackers. But then...
normally people don't call them crackers as well. They call it
the
communion. Body
of Christ.
Yeah.
The literal... You're eating another human.
Yeah, this is important.
Anyways, everyone drank out of the wine goblet. And then I watched Father Brees, after everyone was done drinking, pour a mysterious clear liquid into the wine goblet, swish it around, and then down it. And he is always red in the face. He's got he's a beer guy. He's an alcoholic.
Here's my Father Brees, a little bit of history. So after that year of middle school, I had to do CCD, which is, I don't know, some kind of like Catholic class meet up every Wednesday night all the way through high school. And then when you're like 18, I think you get your confirmation name. So I have a fourth name.
What is it?
Galileo.
No, it's not.
I wanted to be D triple G.
Oh, you chose it?
I chose it.
Oh, little gay.
Anyways, so every Wednesday night, all through high school, during the school year, I had to go to this class, and the class was meeting at Father Brees's house, which there's the church and there's a house that's there's actually a couple houses around the church for the clergy. One was for the I want to say sister, the nun, the main nun, Sister Suzanne, and the other one was for she had a little house. Father had the big house next door, obviously, and we had to go to class like in his living room every Wednesday night, and it was the first time I'd ever seen in my life. Like we'd like go in there and like look in his fridge. Nothing in his fridge, man. I couldn't believe he must eat out every night, everywhere he goes, you know, to the restaurants and stuff on the church dollar or whatever. But the only thing, the only thing in the fridge and freezer were boxes of Marlboro cigarettes that he would keep.
Yeah.
Maybe some alcohol too or something like that. I might have seen like some beers or something. But
there was someone who worked at the liquor store, and they said that he would come in every night and he would get like the cheapest like plastic bottle of vodka and a pack of cigarettes every night. He'd walk down to the liquor store, get those things, come back.
I don't know why he'd get another pack. He had boxes of them in his damn freezer.
I don't know.
I don't know why he's... I had never seen that. I had no idea. I didn't know people put their cigarettes in the fridge or freezer at all. I had never seen that before.
In reality, if you know, he's a Christian, he's probably preparing for the end times. He's like, any day now, Christ is going to come back. The zombie apocalypse will happen. I'm going to need these cigarettes.
Oh my God. No, yeah, it's definitely his emergency stash. If for some reason the shipment doesn't come to Gutenberg,
yeah,
he's fine. He remembers the Dust Bowl.
That's crazy that the school's shutting down, man.
I mean, they didn't want to, but every year the classes have gotten littler and littler. My class, it was crazy because the 7th and the 8th grade class was taught by 2 teachers. They shared the subjects, like English and history, math and science were like taught by 2 teachers. And
was a science class
all God stuff,
creationist? Like
no, it was actually science. It was
legit science. Like the world is 6,000 years old, and we all descended from one man. The real stuff.
Just look in the Bible. It's all there, dude. Science. But our class was super tiny already, maybe 20 kids, and then the next class 19 or something. My little brother was one of the last classes. His class had like 2 or 3. I mean, imagine having your 8th grade class, 7th or 8th grade class has like 4 or 5 kids in it. And that's who you're with all year, these 5 kids. And what else was interesting is my parents decided to take him not to the normal high school we went to the high school in Dyersville next to us.
Okay.
Because it has better teachers, better, statistically, better all this shit.
If by better you mean they don't get drunk with the students, then that's probably
definitely
true.
Not more fun.
Definitely not more fun.
That's for sure. It was a little weird. I went that high school I had experienced 2 or 3 or 4 teachers that came up to me and told me that they taught my mom, or they were teachers of my mother, and like kind of weird that's being at a generational school of your parents went to.
Yeah, it's weird. A couple years ago, I paid off my student loans.
Nice. I'm looking for that Biden $10,000 check, baby.
Do you still owe?
I actually do.
Cool. Well, I paid them off a couple years ago.
Nice.
And guess what?
What?
Because they were paid off during the COVID deference, I can request all that money back.
Nice.
And then I can get it written off.
Nice.
With the $10K.
Nice.
So I'm getting $7,100.
Sick.
Yeah. It's pretty excellent. How much do you owe still?
20.
Oh, shit. Did you get Pell Grant?
I think so.
Then all 20 should be clear.
Interesting. I didn't look that up.
It's 10 for federal loans, and then it's another 10 in Pell Grants. So it can be up to 20.
And the Pell Grant, I believe, you might have gotten that because of grades. So I might have only gotten it in 1 year or 2 years. So we'll have to look up
see if you still
the criteria on the Pell Grants.
Yeah,
I know I got one.
Maybe you still owe on that.
My freshman year of college was a joke. I didn't give two shits. I just fucking.
Well, think about that. Dalton's still paying on student loans, and he's been out of college for like 15, 20 years.
I pay a very, very small payment.
Dalton's 50-something years old, and he's still paying for his college student loans.
Let me cut that out.
You've had enough water.
I literally purposely have paid the minimum on this thing, which I know the interest and bullshit, but I'm almost banking on the government paying for this eventually, which it's kind of paying off now. Like I'm gonna get another 10 grand off, and then I'll just have this, maybe more depending on this Pell Grant thing. But
well, there's a couple really interesting things.
I took out $42,000 for my bachelor degree in business.
I'm surprised your bachelor degree hasn't paid off your loans yet.
Thanks, bud. No, I just told you. I mean, it's not like I would rather put that money into my stock portfolio than paying off the student loan, in my opinion, or even just having cash on hand to buy more shit. So I've always just paid this minimum. I think I used to pay like $200, and now I pay like $150 a month. Like,
yeah,
just the minimum I could ever do.
Well, the cool thing is that
I don't know if that's the best strategy for you. All you people are gonna argue on our comments.
I don't think
any accountants want to argue with me.
Well, no, it's not just giving people 10 or 20 grand. It's now your minimum payment won't mess with your interest rates. Your interest rates are going to be locked in.
That's right.
And another thing is that minimum payment can mean zero now, depending on how much you make. Your minimum payment could actually be zero, and it won't be a late. It won't fuck with interest.
Interesting.
If you make below, I don't know what it was, like 30 grand or something.
What I'm worried about, though, is that half of those loans are personal loans and the other half are state or federal loans. And
no, it's only for federal loans.
So that's what I'm wondering, because it's only going to cover half of them, which are my federal ones that are left.
I
had to take out personal loans just to finish college.
Gotcha.
So half of mine, I might be wrong on the fractions, but it's about half
and half. Yeah,
half is personal and half.
Well,
is
maybe
federal.
It'll wipe out your federal entirely. That'd be pretty sweet.
That's what I'm hoping for. That I'll just get rid of all those.
Yeah. Pretty cool. The
college system in America is a little wild, man.
It's very expensive, and it's gotten so expensive because of federal loans. Because the government says, I'll pay for it, then colleges are just like, cool. We'll charge whatever the fuck we want then.
Yeah, you want this money, we'll keep. They just kept giving, and I had no idea either until it's all said and done. I'm looking up like I owe $40,000, man. I just kept signing the paperwork every time.
That is the most insane part. That they will give an 18-year-old tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
You just got to come down to the office and sign your paperwork. And what's even crazier is they'll let kids take out more. You need some extra money every semester.
Yeah. And the whole time you're thinking, of course I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna need it
because you're an idiot child. You're not even like. Your frontal lobe hasn't even closed yet. You're not 25.
Most of that fucking money was my freshman, sophomore year because I decided to live in the dorms for 2 years. Yeah. And you're paying on top of your tuition, which is $1,000 a class or whatever. It's now I got to pay room and board and all that. And that I didn't even realize it until I graduated when I'd see that on the fucking bill. I'm like, oh my God, I would have been living back home maybe. I don't driving to dang.
There's so much stuff that you can't do when you can't get an auto loan with no credit. You can't get open credit cards that aren't like assured.
Yep.
You can't get cigarettes.
Right.
You have to be 21 for those. But
good luck.
They will give you $40,000 in debt.
Good luck getting a business loan. You're gonna have to go through the freaking rigmarole and start a damn business and have a business credit and history and all this, and good luck even getting it then. And
it's
you want to go back to school?
It's interesting because it's like, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like it's specifically designed to fuck the poor. Because wealthy families, they don't have to worry about that. They just kind of pay for college. Their kids aren't starting life out in $50,000
Mark
debt.
Cuban is the billionaire?
Yeah.
Did you hear that about how he got started and rich in his very, very humble beginnings as a college student?
No. He bought everyone's debt and charged them 50% interest.
I believe maybe he used his student loans, but he might have gotten loans or investments from other people. But he bought a bar as a college student. And
interesting.
Turned that bar into the fucking hottest spot in the town, and every freaking college kid was going there every other night. And
he bought a bar at like 18, 19.
Yeah, man. And you'd have to look all the details up. I think he had some buddies do it with him, invested with him, and he had investments and stuff like that.
Interesting.
But just a random thing. We're talking about. It just reminded me of. That's how it started, man. He sold that, and then
plenty of friends of mine sold drugs in college. It's kind of like a bar.
Interesting story I got about that. Not that I ever sold drugs or anything, but I had a yard sale this weekend. This past weekend, because this weekend I keep burping. We haven't talked in a week because you went camping last weekend. So last weekend I did a jiu-jitsu tournament. The weekend before that, a yard sale. And I think I told you I found a couple of new in-box pianos at Target. I've been going to Targets lately looking for these yellow tag sales. You go to any section of the store. If this yellow tag is popping out at Target, it means it's like one of the lowest clearances it can go down on. Before they consider taking it down off the shelf or whatever. And these pianos were normally $100 on sale for $50. And I played the piano and for a year I didn't have a piano because I was trying to find one for cheap, and you can't find a $50 piano used. So I'm like, okay, this sounds like a good deal. So I went and bought 2 or 3 of these dang pianos, and I put one out at the yard sale for $100. Right, if I double up on it, awesome. And it was funny because our buddy Robert was there, and he even asked about it. He's like, I think I might buy that piano today, man. Would you give me a deal on it? And I told him the story. I paid $50. You give me $75, I'd be happy or whatever. And then I had this couple come up. Lady bought a $1 item. Guy goes through everything. They're about to get back in their car, and the guy's like, "Hey, would you trade me a pound of weed for that piano over there?" And I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "It's outdoor grown." I was like, "Is there seeds in it?" And he's like, "No." I was like, "Can I look at it?" He's like, "Sure." And I go over to his trunk. He's got a Subaru. He pops open the back trunk. He's got 5 pounds of weed and all bagged up.
What the fuck?
All right. And he pops one of them open, and I smell it, and they're just these big old nugs, all dense, really hard, dense nugs. They're not green though. They're more reddish, And he's like, "Yeah, this is just outdoor grown. It's not super dank or top shelf. It's just, he sees joint weed or something, you know what I mean?" And it was a cool day. I got to.
Did you take him up on that offer?
Well, I told him I appreciate the offer, but it's not legal to own that much weed,
Oh,
obviously,
of course.
So I said I appreciate the offer, but it looks great. Smells great. It's big, dense nugs. But I said I just can't, housing that much is
legally you can't.
Not something you can do without like a permit out here or something.
So when you smoked it, was it pretty good?
He did let me try it. Yeah, I tried it out.
Okay.
It was all right.
Did Robert get the piano then? I don't
know. I don't have a piano anymore. Yeah, that's gone now.
The piano's gone.
Piano's gone. It's a good yard sale though. I had never had somebody offer something like that before at my yard sale. Did you see?
What does that cost normally? What would that cost for like?
What an interesting.
Is it mid-grade weed? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like mids, right?
Yeah.
If we're so spoiled out here in Colorado. I go out and buy pre-packed ounces for $60 an ounce, and it's not the top shelf. But it's very good.
Pound is like 16 ounces.
Pound is 16 ounces. So if this is mids, we're. It's all depends on how you fucking sell your shit. By the way, but. I mean, maybe you could get $50 an ounce on the right customer.
Yeah,
but
like a 13-year-old would pay more.
Yeah,
the middle schoolers pay a premium because they're stupid, and not many people are selling to them.
It all depends on if they don't know what good weed is or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you tell them this is the flame and it's like red, like look how it's not green. This is the flame. I don't know.
I call it something fun.
It's
me and my friend Tony from back in Phoenix when we were in like middle school. We would smoke weed we called the Mexican, and that's because it was brown. It was like smush clumped because it came in a vacuum sealed brick in a gas tank from Mexico. It was filled with seeds and stems.
Brick weed, man.
Yeah,
I remember this.
I don't think it exists anymore. Why? It doesn't need to.
I haven't seen it in so long, but it's so funny how when and actually I didn't start smoking weed till I was 18. You might start a little earlier, but once I started, then you start this like the fine for weed, and back then it was like that because it wasn't legalized or anything; it was illegal. So now we're trying to get these connections with people that have connections to weed, and it turns into me.
It's crazy because it's illegal and because you're so young, you end up in really sketchy situations a lot of the time trying to get weed.
I'm trying to think of some some stories, but the reason I brought that up was because, and then it also became like it was the dealer and the grade of weed they had. Like, I got this guy, he's got some mids, you know what I mean? Or this guy's got some dank, but it's, $30 a gram or something like that. And we got to go all the way, drive an hour and a half or something. Maybe we'll just go get the mids over here for half the price or something.
When I first moved to Arizona, my first and only weed connection was in actual ghetto poverty neighborhood, scary gunshots, dogs on chains and shit.
Right.
And you'd walk into this fucked up house. It's just decrepit house. And there was this big fat Mexican guy who's chain smoking cigarettes. And he had a 55-gallon drum barrel next to him. And it was filled with that garbage weed. Oh my God. And I'm just trying to get a little bit of weed.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you want some cocaine? And
what an upsell.
There's people in the room that I don't know and I'm very afraid of. And I'm just like, no, thank you. Please, no.
How did you get a connection like that, man?
That's so funny. Don't even know how I survived those days.
Yeah, it's so stupid, man. It just creates all this bullshit and crime and people screwing each other over, and I mean, it really is dumb, man. legalizing it is the way to go, and regulating it. And
after a year or so of dealing with that guy, my buddy got a med card, and he would get his weed delivered, but it was like better grade.
Yeah.
You know, and I would have to sit in his room and not make a sound while he was dealing with it, dealing with the guy in like the living room or something.
Yeah. It was so sketchy because you always thought you were going to get freaking arrested too.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I remember I had a couple of guys that I was going through had this great weed, bring over a dang garbage bag full of it, and then he got popped. You know what I mean? And then I'd hear about another guy that was one of my friends that was shipping it from California for years, man, all through college and all that. He had a connection that would mail it to him, and then finally he got caught. I mean, years of doing it through the mail.
My buddy who was getting the medical marijuana, he started losing his mind, and I don't know what caused it, but he's
Sure.
maybe
Probably other drugs.
Yeah. But he ended up getting like a mutual friend pregnant, and then they had a baby, and they were like going to try to live together and raise this kid. And one day leading up to this, he started telling all of us like, I am going to win the lottery, or I've got this huge influx of money coming in, like millions of dollars.
Oh, no.
And he's like, I'll pay for your meal. And he starts buying everyone all this shit.
Oh, Jesus.
And then one day he calls up his baby mama. They're supposed to take the baby to some doctor appointment.
Yeah.
And he said something like, oh, I can't remember what he said, but it was an insane thing. He was just like, you want to go to Flagstaff? And she said no. And he threw his phone out the window or something.
Yeah.
And he drove off speeding. And then he was in like a 13-car chase. Like he had a string of cop cars behind him. He's flying down the I-17 heading north towards Flagstaff. And one of the cops is coming the opposite way on an on-ramp. And like they're trying to get him to stop, and he does not stop. He blows right past him. And finally they spike strip his car. He ends up, his car comes off the freeway, and he's like, ends up in the desert. And then he's walking back and forth in the desert, mumbling to himself as like these cops are drawn on him, like, get down, get down. And he doesn't. Eventually they get him without killing him.
Right.
And
one time on marijuana. Huh?
He smoked weed one time. Anyways, he had this rap sheet of charges. Like when he swerved at the cop that was coming at him, attempting to kill a police officer. Like he had this rap sheet, and he didn't serve any jail time. In fact, he got charged with a misdemeanor, which was like something dumb, like speeding or something.
Yeah, it's like graffiti.
Criminal speeding.
Or something, yeah.
And he just had to go to see a therapist for like a month or something. And I'm like, that whatever you've got going on for you, he was white.
I wonder,
it was definitely some type of weird privilege thing.
I was about to say that the only way I can imagine is if you had no previous like charges or anything in your life, and then out of nowhere you just fucking the screws go loose or something.
So that gave me the idea, like, oh, does everyone get one? Like I don't have a rap sheet. I don't have any previous charges.
Mulligan.
Can I fucking do that like without any real issue?
I mean,
it sounds fun.
Man, you are white, so they probably won't kill you. But
well, the thing is that when he was out in the desert walking, pacing back and forth, and they were drawn on him, one wrong move and he would have been fucking killed.
If he would have looked like he was grabbing something from his waistband,
anything,
boom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just.
And then I didn't see him until a month or so later. And I was already distancing myself from him because he was acting like a crazy person.
At this point, I really wanted to be his friend.
And then he did that. And One of our friends got hurt, and we met at the hospital, and he said like hello to me, and I said something like, you know what you did was insane, right? You know you're a crazy person. And he was offended.
Oh my gosh.
It's like you're not self-aware enough to realize you're a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
Like that was insane. And I don't want to be your friend anymore.
I shouldn't tell you about all the car chases I got in, I guess, huh?
Did you make it?
They never got me.
I did. Have you ever been in a car chase that you got away with?
Kind of.
Me too.
I mean, I think I told you the story.
You can go first. I'll go next.
Well, my story was kind of fun. I think I might have told it a year or two ago in the podcast. Who knows? My first car was a Geo Metro, and I put giant subs in this. It was a hatchback, and I put these big old subs in the hatchback in the back that just rattled the rust off this thing. And the first week I put these things in, I'm working at the pizza shop, and I'm in this small town, Guttenberg, and basically one of the things that you do is you take like a lap around the town almost.
Yeah.
And so
I do it every time.
Every time you go up there, you have to take a lap. And I get done with my shift, and it was almost like almost a dang, I don't know, like something. What do you call it? I can't think of the word. It was just on repeat. I would after every shift, I'd just go take a lap around the town. And at this time, I go in the town, and then I finish with a lap through I'll go straight on the freeway. And the freeway goes all through town, and then it goes up the big old hill all the way another 5 miles to Millville, where I'd have to hit a gravel road to my house another 5 miles. And apparently when I went straight through the freeway through town, I went 45 miles an hour, and it's a 35. And I'm not realizing this because I'm just bumping to some subs right now, like 222, just you just going ham on some subs. And I get all the way through town and up the Guttenberg Hill, and I look behind me. I mean, I did realize somebody was behind me, but they went right up on my ass with their lights, and like it's nighttime, so I'm like, what the fucker? So I get my head out of the rear view mirror because all I see is just lights in my eyes. I'm like, God dang it, this fucking guy, he's ruining my vibe, man. You know what I mean? And then by the time I get all the way through town, I look again, and it's a cop. And luckily, it was the cop that was best friends with the manager of the pizza place I worked at. And I can tell you later, whatever. And he pulls me over, and he's like, you know how long I've been following you for? And I was like, no. He's like, I followed you all the way through town, all the way up this hill, and then you finally pulled over.
With his lights on?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I can only imagine if you can see it in Guttenberg, Iowa, all the way through town. I wish it was at 10 o'clock at night, 9 or 10 o'clock. But just seeing the cop trying to get the Geo down, and then he just goes up the hill.
Slowest car chase ever.
Going 45. Bumping, and I'm dancing.
Hell yeah.
But luckily, I just told him, like, oh, sorry, I just put these subs in last week, and I was just bumping to him. And then he told me, he's like, you know how fast you were going? I was like, no. You're going 45 through the 35. And he basically just, like, stopped being an idiot and go home. Is like all he told me.
Nice.
You know, if it was some of the other guys, who knows? They probably would have
been a little more asshole.
Slap my face.
My story is I was in Phoenix. I had just moved to Phoenix. And so I'm like 18, 19. And I don't know. I think like when I was a lot younger, I had emotional issues. And
Younger?
I had just, yeah. And I had just gotten in a fight with like a girlfriend at the time or something like that. And me and this other car are side by side. We're about to turn onto a freeway, the I-17, heading south. And we go, and I'm trying to, the lanes are going to merge, right? So I'm trying to get ahead of him so I can go on the freeway. And he's not letting me do it. And finally, I like back off, and he goes in front of me and slams on the brakes.
Oh, what a fucker. Oof.
So then he gets on the freeway, and he's not letting me on the freeway, and I'm on the access ramp. So I slam on my brakes, and I get alongside of him, and I'm like flipping him off, and he starts swerving his car at me, and now we're racing. And we're going at...
See, I feel like at this point, I should be allowed to shoot his tires out. Is that against the law?
Well, he might have had his tire shot out at the end of the story.
Lawyers on the podcast?
So now we are flying down the freeway, and it's late at night. There aren't many cars on the freeway. And we are going excess of 100 miles per hour, and we're both just side by side flipping each other off.
Oh, my God.
And we pass a cop. And immediately that guy's lights flick on. And I get on the very next exit ramp, and the exit ramp is coming up on a red light, and I don't fucking care because I'm not getting like in trouble for street racing.
That's a big no. Yeah.
I blow that red light, and I come up over this hill, and then I pull into a parking lot and shut all my lights off. But this idiot, he wasn't able to get off on the exit ramp
because you had the right side.
Yeah. So I'm very likely he got pulled over for like street racing or something.
Well, good.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I mean, for once, justice is served. I mean,
I sat in that parking lot with my lights off and my seat fully reclined, just like looking up at my ceiling, like,
just your heart.
Am I getting away with something right now? Like, I was so scared. And then I took like, surface streets, like through neighborhoods, like, to get back home, and just fell asleep.
I feel like if I was in that situation, I mean, it's going to be tough to defend that you were not racing, but I would definitely say like that guy was literally trying to kill me, trying to run me off the road, and I was trying to speed away from him because I was scared. And I think you could have defended yourself pretty well, even though.
Well, it sounds like everybody gets one freebie, so I would have just
fine.
I would have done what my friend did. Did like a month of therapy.
I may have told this story before, but I know a guy that was accused of vehicular manslaughter, and he was arrested for it, and he ended up plea bargaining because his lawyers advised him that
that's how they get you.
You're better off doing this because you can potentially have a much less sentence than if they find you guilty and you have to serve twice the amount of time. So he plea bargained and said he was guilty to this shit, but he ended up I think he was sentenced to 5 or 8 years or something in prison maybe, and he ended up only doing like 2. For vehicular manslaughter.
Crazy.
And it's to this day I don't know what happened, and I still don't believe he did it. But who knows? Who fucking knows? He also put himself in a very crazy situation where he was dating a very crazy person. So, I can't.
The plea always sounds like the right move because it's like, oh, but what if I'm found guilty? Never take the plea.
That's what I hear, man.
Never take your chances.
Yeah. I mean, I was very surprised with like you hear that sentence and then you're like, oh my God, I'm not going to see him for 5 to 10 years, man.
Right.
And then 2 years later, we see him and we're like, how the fuck did that? Oh, good behavior. Everybody was friends with me. It's not
he
like
comes out of prison and he's like, now I actually have killed people.
Well, I hate to say it, but there's a comedian that has a whole act about that.
Yeah.
There was a Comedy Central special or a series for a while, ran by Ari Shaffir, but then after one or two seasons he left it, and now they might still be doing it. What's it called? I can't remember what it was called.
I can't remember either, but it's like a really small club. Like,
it's just all these comedians telling their worst stories in their lives. Okay, for some reason I'm drawing a blank on the name, but there's a comedian on there that had 2 or 3 hilarious stories. I mean, sad to hear them because he's experienced these things, but he went to prison for something, and he says like prison made him more of a criminal. And he talks about like these guards harassing him to the point where he wanted to kill one of these guards. And he talked about like literally making a shiv and like conspiring and the only thing that stopped him was his fucking cellmate. He had to like carry this mattress from one end to the one block A to block B or something, and this guard has to escort him, and so he's like, this is when I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna fucking shiv him right now while he's escorting us. And his roommate caught him before he was gonna, because he saw the guard was helping him out and stopped him. But the whole bit was just he turned his shit, the bullshit in his life, into comedy, which was amazing. But it was kind of sad too. Like they made him strip down naked, and a bunch of just terrible stories. Oh, and the funniest story is the whole story was whenever you heard Mexicans don't got boots on today or something, that means there's gonna be a race war today. And it was something about like the Mexicans always play handball in the court, but if they don't have their shoes on, then that means that there's going to be a fucking killing today. So when the word gets out, his roomie's telling him, Mexicans don't got shoes on today. And so now he's thinking,
why are they only killing it barefoot?
Well,
they don't want to get blood on their shoes.
I might totally be doing it wrong too. Like it might, but there's some sort of sign like when all the Mexicans don't have their shoes on,
Yeah. When their little toesies are out.
It might, I might.
When their piggly wigglies are out.
I'm totally fucking. Something about boots too, because I know it's about boots, but they must be wearing boots, right? Because why would they take their boots off? Like, they got no boots on. Oh shit! I'm gonna get you. Let me get their boots back.
They've been growing out their toenails. That's what they use as a shiv.
I'm just slaughtering this story. I'm so sorry. But the funny thing was, like, first he has to figure out what the fuck that means because he's hearing it on the block. And then he's like, now I have to go figure out how to make a shiv in the next couple hours before this fucking brawl happens. And so that's how it like started. Like, people are killing each other for race and all this shit. And the guards are harassing you for all this shit. And people are threatening you and trying to kill you and take advantage of you. And he's like, man, it was like, I did some bullshit to get in there, but then you turn into more of a criminal when you're in there.
I wonder if your effort is better spent not making a shiv and instead collecting ketchup packets and playing dead when the race wars break out. You just cover yourself in ketchup.
Play possum.
Yeah, that's what I would do at least.
You know what I found out that I never thought about? A possum is just a armadillo without its armor.
No. What? No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They gotta be cousins.
We must have just hit an hour because Dalton's lost his mind.
Did I take it off the rails here?
I think the opossum, which is...
I know I always say possum, but it's spelled super weird. Opossum.
Australians have possums without the O.
Oh.
And they're very cute. And the opossum, which we have, I think is North America's only marsupial. So it can't be an armadillo without its shell, because an armadillo is unlikely to have a pouch. Fun facts.
I can't believe you had so many random facts about marsupials and mammals. And are we gonna have an animal show now? Are we gonna have like animals coming out like pythons and stuff. Oh, here's my python.
We could do that. I don't want to, but we could.
Next podcast, I rent a petting zoo. I just bring him in.
Oh, that would be sick. I would love that.
I know you wouldn't.
I would not love. Yeah, there'd be shit everywhere.
The mess. You would flip a gasket. Just so the people know, I don't know if they realize this. Cody keeps everything very, very clean. All right. And I'm not like that. I think we tried to showcase that in one of the podcasts where you saw my truck and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, filled with shit. Picture that truck filled with all that shit, if you guys have seen that episode. And now put a computer tower and a monitor and a dog on top of that pile. That's how Dalton got here today.
You just put them on top. I did get a gym bag for my geese though. It looks a little less messy in the back.
Okay.
But the reason I brought up, clean and dirty, whatever, is you recently bought a new 3D printer, which I'm very impressed with. And I asked you about it, and you said, "Well, yeah, I had to buy." You have a rosin printer previously. That's what you've been dabbling in. For people that don't know, there's like 2 different kinds of 3D printers, and my only definition is one's for like super tiny, well-defined things, and then the other regular 3D printers for bigger things, but it's not as defined.
Exactly.
Boom. So I asked you about it. You said, yeah, I had to buy some more parts for my rosin printer, and I thought I might as well dabble in the regular 3D printing and see what it's like, which it is a huge learning curve. Like I've been downloading some software and looking at it, and I just found, you just told me today, you explained the whole process of, I thought you just had to create a model and then, send it off to the 3D printer, but once you make a model, then you got to send it to another software where it figures out how it's going to print it out.
Yeah, it's called a slicer. It figures out each layer.
Each layer has to be different, and you got to put it in right. Otherwise, it's not going to obviously print right, and it's going to. You have to have everything. Would you call them stabilizers or something, or
supports? Yeah, you need supports.
Anyways, that's a whole discussion for another day, but. I brought the clean thing up because I asked you what did you get for your rosin printer? Like that thing's brand new. Like I thought it's pretty much ready to go. Like I don't know what extra things you can get for it.
Yeah, so we've talked about this on the podcast before, but the resin printer has a UV.
I keep saying resin. Sorry.
A UV light at the bottom that hardens the resin between it and the build plate, and that resin has to sit in a vat. And apparently you don't actually need to clean that vat.
You reuse the vat, I thought.
You reuse the vat constantly, and I've been cleaning it after every build. And you don't need to clean it at all.
I think even I knew that you didn't have to take that out.
And because I've been cleaning it, it's got scratches on it, which is bad because now the light's not passing through it as effectively. And I had to buy a couple more vats.
Who told you to clean it every time?
Me. The brain that says it needs to be clean.
I used it, need to clean it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to diagnose you a little bit, trying to figure out what's going on up there.
It's not a bad thing to like things clean.
Let folks put this together for you. He over cleaned something. He didn't even have to clean it all. Okay. And I'm just trying to, I've never had the problem of over cleaning anything. And it's also interesting now, the story thickens. He didn't even have to clean it.
I did not have to clean it.
I maybe assume you had to maybe drain it out and clean it maybe once a month or something. That's what I kind of assume. But you don't even have to do that. You just keep reusing the shit. You just drain it and put a new one in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can see where that's a problem.
Hopefully, you're not. eating away at anything else in your apartment here that's just a little too dirty for you.
I'm sure there's other things being ruined by me.
There's a stain that you just can't get out, and you've just been rubbing it for days.
Cleaning the walls down to the studs, just rubbing away drywall.
Oh man, I can't imagine what happened in your head when we did those shoeies and the beer went everywhere.
Oh my God.
That had to be one of the biggest messes in this apartment ever.
Yeah. Well, second only to when you sprayed me with the silly string that was clearly expired and it just splattered all over the wall behind me.
I had a failed.
That was another stressful moment.
Failed silly string attempt that basically just shot silly oil all over the walls.
Yeah.
Silly oil attack. What the fuck is this, dude? It's wet. No string.
There's no string.
It was expired. I wanted to use it a long time ago, I guess. I should figure out another way to scare you one of these times. 'Cause I don't think I've ever laughed as hard as that time I hit you with the pocket rocket, the pocket popper.
I assumed a gun went off and I had been shot.
That was, and it was the perfect story too, because you were talking about hitting a deer, and you're like, right when I hit that thing, I was like, boom! Oh man, I loved it. Speaking of, our last little note here before we finish this, we're finally starting to edit TikToks again. So all the fans, all our 30 fans out there, when we start putting these TikToks out there, blow them up. I don't know if we're gonna experiment and try to like delete and redo videos, because we've heard all these weird people saying that TikTok's weird and that your videos will blow up if you on certain times of the day or some shit, dude. I don't even know.
I edit the YouTube videos. Dalton is fully in charge of the TikTok videos. So if you want to see like some schizo editing,
well,
follow the TikTok account.
We do have like 5 or 6 TikToks currently, and you did edit those. I'll give you full credit on those.
The first ones.
I'm just letting the people know now.
It's about to get wild.
From now on, go ahead and comment on the TikToks, and let me know how my editing's doing, because I'm relearning how to edit this shit, and it's probably gonna be very simple, and hopefully you get a kick out of it. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
I'm not doing anything too wild, like putting some fucking visual, any kind of graphics in there or some crazy shit, man.
Your last one was filled with graphics.
I meant to say like visual effect, or
Yeah.
We'll see. Let me know.
Leave us a comment letting us know about a car chase you've been involved in, and like the video.